This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 287 Aussie Mac Zone.
287. Woo.
287. Yes, Zarn, how are you, buddy?
I'm fantastic, Michael. How are you?
Very, very good, thank you. Now, just straight off the top while I'm thinking about it, and I'll try and remember it later on, next week's show will be Tuesday because we've got the Worldwide Developers Conference Monday night, Tuesday morning, our time.
Yep.
So we'll do the show on Tuesday night, so we've got things to talk about of what happened.
Yes.
Instead of talking about what might happen. Now, this week we're brought to you by IT Help to You and Aussie Tech Heads Domains. So our Aussie Apple ramblings this week start with, so just to keep it off the stage at the Worldwide Developers Conference, Apple released their new MacBook Pro updates, and it blows away its predecessors. Cult of Mac reports Apple's marketing for the recently announced 2019 MacBook Pro emphasizes how much faster it is than last year's model. And now a benchmark score may confirm that this Mac OS laptop is almost 30% faster. Pardon me, the top tier new MacBook Pro employs an Intel 9th generation Core i9 processor, which has just been debuted. It's clocked at 2.4 gig with a turbo boost up to 5. And this is the first 8-core Mac OS laptop. And Apple's promotional materials promise 40% more performance than a 6-core MacBook Pro. Now, of course, that depends on what you're actually doing with it. So if you're just sitting there typing and answering emails, not going to make any difference really at all. But if you are compressing video or that sort of thing, it'll make a huge difference. Now, the MacBook Pro 2019 promotional materials are very well, but benchmark are generally more accurate. And the results of a Geekbench 4 test on the MacBook Pro 15,13 were unloaded to Primate Labs website this morning, indicating that it lives up to Apple's enthusiasm. The multi-core score for this device is 29184. Last year's speedier 6-core was 22620, which makes it 29% faster. The single-core score for the new model is 5879. Which is also a 9.9% improvement over last year's machine. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's excellent.
So faster machines with, again, a slightly modified keyboard to try and resolve any keyboard issues. And obviously, it's basically just a speed bump. It's the same design with the modified keyboard. But people want to, obviously Apple wanted to keep it off the stage, so they've got plenty to talk about, obviously, next week. Now, Tim Cook just nailed how to handle critics in 6 brilliant pointed words. Inc.com writes, Tim Cook had a zinger of wisdom hidden deep within a rousing commencement speech. So he was just doing a commencement speech at a university in America. And it can be hard to handle criticism. We all know we need to do it. It's crucial for getting better as a human being, but not all criticism is created equal. In fact, some critics shouldn't even get a seat at the table. It's important to set criteria for those who make the cut and mentally dismiss the rest. Your boss, your key teammates, your mentors, they probably all make the cut. Bob in accounting or that random LinkedIn dude who gets his anger on via acidic comments on your posts, they can pound salt. But that said, it doesn't make it any easier when your undeserving, likely uninformed critics are taking swings at us, especially when research from Case Western Reserve University psychologist Roy Baumeister shows that we are 4 times more likely to remember criticism than we are praise. And that it takes 5 positive events to make up for the psychological impact of just 1 negative event. Reminds me about something in the car. I'll tell you in a sec. Apple CEO Tim Cook recently provided scintillating perspective. he was giving the commencement speech at Tulane University when he shared this absolute gem. We don't build monuments to trolls. Pretty simple.
Yep.
We don't think about it. We don't build monuments to trolls.
That's it.
So it's like, just don't worry about them.
As in life, so does the internet. If you're not going to put up with a D-head, in real life, so why would you put up with one online?
That's right. Just
people get so wrapped up, with how they're perceived and what people are saying to them online, when it doesn't matter. It's the same as in the real world. Those people can go jump.
That's right. There'll be 1,000 people reading your blog and one dipstick writing something about it that you take to heart. Don't worry about it.
No.
He's only jealous because he didn't write it himself.
Exactly. If we listened to critics, we wouldn't be here. No, I'm joking. Our critics are fantastic.
That's right. That's right. We learn from them.
That's right.
Whether we learn to ignore them or whether we learn to improve something.
That's right.
And the thing about what he said about 1 in 4... where was it? It takes 5 positive events to make up for one. The reason I was talking about that is if your engine light comes in your car for some, like, for example, I've got one with a temperature problem on my car at the moment, or a fan problem. It'll come on for one issue, but if the issue goes away and you have 3 trips without any issue, the engine light will go off on its own.
Yep.
If that resolves itself for whatever reason, you might have changed the fuse in the engine bay or whatever. I don't know, but yeah. So
exactly.
It takes a few good things to get rid of the bad one. Like,
yep.
Yeah, it's not a 1-to-1 thing. Please remember, it's not 1-to-1. It takes a few things to get over a bad one. Now, this week we are brought to you by IT Help to You, a small little Macintosh Apple company. Just look them up on the web, www.ithelptoyou.com.au. Send them an email, ask them a question, whatever you like.
Family owned and ran.
Yes, absolutely true. So, yeah, certified Apple Mac tech, the whole deal. So, yeah, please ask a question, go for it. Anything you want to know. Now, story number 3. So this is where life goes up and down, you see. Now, an RV camp sprung up outside Google's headquarters. Now, Mountain View wants to ban it. Mountain View being the city. Right? Bloomberg reports, with house prices out of reach, where will the van dwellers go? In a quiet neighbourhood near Google's headquarters last month, rusty, oleaginous sewage was seeping from a parked RV onto the otherwise pristine street. Now, Sergeant Wahid McGee of the Mountain View Police Department was furious. You guys need to take care of it like ASAP, he said, lecturing the young couple living in the vehicle. I'm not going to tow it today, but tomorrow if I come out here and it's like this, it's getting towed. As he delivered the ultimatum, a self-driving car rolled past.
Of course it did.
But if it's got to that point that they're letting the sewage go into the street, there's something wrong. Like they need to be doing a better job. Right? I got to say, I'm with him sort of. So, but Mountain View is a wealthy town that's home to Alphabet Inc., the world's 4th most valuable public corporation, and Google's owner. Now, McGee spends a lot of his time knocking on the doors of RVs parked in the city's streets, logging license plate and marking rigs that haven't moved for several days. This is the epicenter of a Silicon Valley tech boom that is minting millionaires, pardon me, but also fueling a homelessness crisis that the United Nations recently deemed a human rights violation.
That's right. They don't like the homeless. They're too rich. God damn it. Stop trying to take their money.
I don't know whether all these people aren't homeless, I don't think.
Well, clearly not. They live in an RV.
And they work at Google or Apple or Facebook or all these other
exactly, and they're living in RVs because they can't afford the rent in where they work.
Yeah,
like far out.
So in December, Mountain View Police logged almost 300 RVs that appeared to be used as primary residents. Palo Alto, Berkeley, and other Bay Area towns have similar numbers. But as a Mountain View Council has just banned RVs from parking on its streets overnight. So they've got to go and park in parking lots and things like that. Jesus. So they're not actually on the street.
So they're not an eyesore for the rich.
Yes, well, for their employers. So I don't know an easy way around it, but that means that you have to move the businesses away from Berkeley or Palo Alto or whatever.
But that's the problem. They've made money, and so the area thinks, oh, well, we've got all these, billionaires now. We can just up the rent. But they forget that these billionaires need employees.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how that works.
But I do think the RVs should not have things like sewage leaking out of their
Absolutely,
frame.
I agree with that. Look, if your RV is spilling sewage, then clearly you're in violation because that's not on. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You need to take it somewhere where you can, dump your sewage and you pay a cost. That's, like when you take your caravan or whatever.
Same if you were paying rent or paying rates because you own a building.
Exactly.
You're paying for that sort of thing to be removed.
You are.
And these people in the RVs are working.
Yes, they are.
And probably earning good money.
Yeah.
And don't want to travel 3 hours to get to work each day or something like that.
Yep.
So,
when you say good money, the rate of difference from here to the US is huge. So, if they're living in RVs, they're clearly not making fantastic money. So, if they're making fantastic money, why wouldn't a whole bunch of them get together and rent a house and share it? Because that's what we do. Because that's what we do in Sydney.
You'd think. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe there's just nowhere to rent. That's why the rent's so high, is because there's nowhere to rent.
The Bay Area was a punk area. Like, it was so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, I know of stories from, like, Jello Biafra, a lot of the old school punk bands, they all lived in the Bay Area.
Because it was cheap.
Because it was cheap, yeah.
Startups moved there because it was cheap.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So, have we got gaming stuff, mate? I've got some gaming stuff. Do you want to go first?
All right. So, last week I wasn't here. And so I posted some trailers for the games that I'd been looking at that are coming out. And I'm just getting to them right now. Give me 2 seconds. Here we are. I've got them. So the first one I posted last week, homesick, but still watching the show and making sure that, I left an abundance of comments on the show while it ran. So the first one was by a Tone, and it's called Heart of the Elder Tree. Now, this is a platform game. It's got puzzles and your interaction and things like that. It looks like a great game. Again, I haven't played any of them yet because it's not out. But I'm looking at the trailers and I'm picking the ones that I like. This is from a company from New Zealand.
Oh, yeah?
So this is one of the reasons I picked it was because, it's a homegrown company. Because if nothing, we're neighbours with New Zealand. So if nothing else, we're a lot more than that. But if nothing else, we're just neighbours. And not just that, the game looks really cool. It's sort of 8-bit-ish. Maybe 16-bit. And it looks fun. Like I said, there's code breakers, there's levels, there's fights, there's interaction. Everything a good game should have. So hopefully when I finally get a chance to play it, I'll like it. From what I can see of the trailer, it looks great. The second one I posted last week was called Cardocalypse.
Yeah.
Which is a card game, essentially. It's poorly drawn, which I love. I love that poorly drawn South Park sort of esque look. And I love a card game. I'm a big Magic fan. I play Hearthstone and that sort of stuff. So another card game where you can, battle people with, imaginary creatures is right up my alley. So I had a look at this. It looks great. It's based around young kids, try to get them into that card scene like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon and that sort of thing, which I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh to be honest, but I have played Pokemon. I like Pokemon. I like Pokemon Go. We all know that. So that looks like a great little card game.
Yeah.
And the last one I chose is called Hitchhiker. I don't know. I didn't go much into this one. I didn't see who made it. It just looked really bizarre. It was a car pulls over. You're in first person. You get in. There's interaction. And that's all you really get from the trailer. And I'm like, it's so bizarre. I need to know more. So I chose that because it caught my interest.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know what would happen. And so they're my 3 games for the week.
Excellent.
I wish I could give you more. We're still waiting, but it's not long now. And it'll be out, and we'll be able to actually play them. And if I get a chance, which I'm sure I will, we've spoken about it offline, that I will play the games, and I'll do some walkthroughs and stuff like that online, and so you guys can see how they're played.
Yes.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Back to you, Michael. What games do you have?
Hopefully we'll know more next week after the Worldwide Developers Conference. Will tell us a little bit more, hopefully.
Hopefully they can drop some more trailers because I'm running out.
There's only 100.
There's not 100 trailers.
Now, Steam Link finally launches on iOS and Apple TV. PC News tells us it's been almost pardon me. It's been almost a year since Apple initially rejected the Steam Link app due to multiple guideline violations, but they have clearly been resolved. Valve wants gamers to have the ability to stream their library of Steam games to mobile devices. So last year it launched a free Steam Link app.
Yep.
The problem was Apple rejected the app for iOS and Apple TV due to multiple violations. 1 year on, though, and Steam Link is finally available on Apple's platforms. As 9 to 5 Mac reports, Apple and Valve agreed to work together last year to solve the guideline violations and bring the Steam Link experience to iOS and Apple TV. The most surprising thing is that it took so long to achieve.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to run Steam Link on your Apple device, you'll require an iPhone or an iPad running iOS 10 or higher and a PC running Steam, which I believe can be a Mac as well.
It can be if it's,
Yeah. Both devices must be connected to the same local network for the streaming link to function, which should happen by default in most homes.
Yes.
And Apple TV will also work for streaming, of course. So, yeah, that's one story.
Yep. Well, that's excellent too. That's huge. Steam is great.
Yep.
I've got lots of mates that have Steam accounts. I have a Steam account. To be honest, I haven't used it in a long time, just because I like consoles and I grew up as a console gamer and that sort of thing. So I still sort of go that way. But I do have a Steam account, and I think this is a great way for the new generation if that's what they want to play, and especially if they've got their iPads and their iPhones and that want to play, then they've got a chance to do that now. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, they can sit in the lounge room and while the other family watch TV, they can be still playing their game that's on the machine upstairs or whatever.
That's right.
Now, Sony's deal with Microsoft blindsided its own PlayStation team. Bloomberg again, when Sony Corp unveiled a cloud gaming pact with arch rival Microsoft, it surprised the industry. Perhaps no one was more shocked than the employees of Sony's PlayStation division, who have spent almost 2 decades fighting the US giant in the 38 billion video game console market. Last week, the company has announced a strategic partnership to co-develop game streaming technology and host some of PlayStation's online services on the Redmond-based company's Azure cloud platform.
Excellent.
It comes after PlayStation spent 7 years developing its own gaming offering with limited success. Now, negotiations with Microsoft began last year and were handled directly by Sony's senior management in Tokyo, largely without the involvement of the PlayStation unit. Now, according to people familiar with the matter,
yes,
staff at the gaming division were caught off guard by the news.
This isn't a bad thing.
No. Managers had to calm workers and assure them that the plans for the company's next generation console weren't affected.
Absolutely.
And asking not to be in a minute identified discussing private matters. That difficult moment is part of the painful lesson that Sony and many other technology companies are facing as the world's leading cloud computing providers become more powerful. If you aren't spending billions of dollars a year on data centers, servers, and network gear, you can't keep up.
So, this means that we can cross-platform.
Yeah.
It's finally... so
that's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this isn't a bad thing for either console developer. It sounds like to me that they've finally come across the table and decided that yes, if you play off the top of my head, let's say Red Dead 2 on PlayStation, and you play it on Xbox, there's now going to be a big server where you can play together.
Yeah.
And that's great. It means people don't have to go and buy another console to play with their friends.
Yeah.
And if we can cross-platform some games, for instance, I've got Forza.
Yeah.
The racing games.
Yep.
If we can cross-platform some games like that, that means, PlayStation get them. We can, they could develop big online racing teams and stuff like that. It wouldn't matter where or what you play it on. You could just get in there and race.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a bad thing at all. I wholly welcome this idea. So I think it's good.
And it's up to Microsoft and Sony to keep developing games for their own platform.
Yeah.
To make people buy that platform, even though they still be able to play the games cross-platform.
Yeah. And it just comes up to which one do you like better.
Yeah.
I do use the Xbox because it was 4K when it came out.
Yep.
I've got a 4K TV. I like that resolution, especially for the newer games. You really get that the crisp, sort of the backgrounds and stuff like that. Sony weren't offering that, and so that's the reason why if you're actually right into your gaming, you look at this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to lose. People because they're cross-platform. I can get it on PlayStation. What do we need Xbox or vice versa? They're not going to do that because people are loyal to what they like, especially older gamers like me. We know what we like. We know what we're looking for. And if they're offering a better resolution and things like that, then the people that understand that are going to keep going back there.
Yeah. Now, Australian civil getting off the gaming now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it. Sorry. An Australian civil servant faces 10 years for mining cryptocurrency on government computers. The Next Web reports and a government employee is appearing in court last week after using equipment to mine cryptocurrency for his own gain. The Australian Federal Police alleged the 33-year-old from Killara in New South Wales took advantage of a position as an IT contractor to modify government computer systems to mine cryptocurrency. The man's illicit mining operation is said to have earned him more than 9,000 Australian dollars, according to an AFP announcement, of Australian Federal Police announcement. Now, the unnamed man is facing 2 charges: unauthorised modification of data to cause an impairment and unauthorised modification of restricted data. Restricted data, sorry. So, yeah, these charges carry a maximum penalties of 10 years and 2 years imprisonment, respectively. Australian taxpayers put their trust in public officials to perform vital roles for our community with the utmost integrity, Acting Commander Chris Goldsmith said. Any alleged criminal conduct which betrays this trust for personal gain will be investigated and prosecuted. Indeed, cryptocurrency mining profitability is largely impacted by the cost of electricity used to run the mining equipment. In other words, all your computers. With that in mind, the temptation to mine cryptocurrency at someone else's expense is too enticing for some. So, yeah. And it's our gear.
Yeah.
So where's my share of that $9,000?
Exactly. And not like you got $9,000.
Yeah.
You know, and 2 to 10 years in prison. Like, it's lucky they caught him when he did. You know, like $9,000 in the scheme of things. You know, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, that they've done the right thing. They've caught him early, and excellent.
Yeah, and it's like he might have done 2 hours work to get his $9,000, but it used up all our. Like, it might have stopped people from working at a premium rate, for example. Like, why is my computer so slow? So, things like that. So, now, cold of Mac again. Apple's manufacturer Pegatron is reportedly set to start assembling MacBooks and iPads in Indonesia starting next month. Now, the news comes at a time when more and more people are concerned about a burgeoning trade war between the US and China because a large number of Apple products are manufactured in China. The possibility of new import tariffs could have a detrimental impact on the company. Pegatron will start assembling Apple's MacBook and iPad devices using a local manufacturer in a town called Batam. It doesn't sound like the partnership will necessarily be permanent, though. Pegatron has reportedly invested $300 million to refurbish 2 plants in Indonesia. It originally considered investing in factories in Vietnam. However, it seemed it selected Batam because of a labour availability. So there was more people available. I've got a feeling that Pegatron is a Taiwanese company. This is one of the things that's always got me.
Yep.
China, as far as China's concerned, Taiwan's an island of China.
Yep. Hi, Kylie.
And Chris Griffiths too. He's joined.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Yeah, there's Kylie. Taiwan.
Isabel
and
as well.
China don't get on.
Yep.
Right, but Pegatron, as far as I'm aware, Pegatron is a Taiwanese company that has factories in China.
Yep.
And because of this hassle with the US, that they're obviously just moving one of those factories to Indonesia to make some products. But it's a Taiwanese company, even though like Taiwan and China don't get on. There's lots of Taiwanese companies in China. So that's beyond me. So now, remember this week, again, we are brought to you by Aussie Tech Heads Domains at athwebhosting.com.au. You can go in there, buy your domain. There's hundreds of different domain names you can have now. For if you're an accountant, you can get .accountant. You can simply just get, Michael Seamons.me.
Yep. We don't know why you would want that because only Michael would look at that, but
Yeah, so
unless you're going to set it up with pictures of him,
That's it. Superstar. But you can get photography and all that sort of stuff. It's amazing how many different domain, like there's 400. you go and look the 400 up. I'm sure you can find one that's applicable for what you need that really tells people what you're doing. Right? Instead, .com and .com.au don't necessarily tell people exactly what you're doing. It's just where you're based most of the time. But if you say, I'm an accountant, or, I'm a lawyer, just to name two, people know exactly what you're looking for and must find you faster. So, yeah, Aussie Tech Heads domains, athwebhosting.com.au, and look for the domains.
Excellent.
Now, here we go. Google and Facebook are going to hate Apple's new privacy-preserving online ads. Again, I'm having a great time tonight. Again, the Next Web reports a new Safari feature called privacy-preserving ad-click attribution aims to stop ads from tracking you across the web. The company says the proposed solution will allow advertisers to measure the effectiveness of their ad campaigns on the web without compromising on your privacy. This effectively means an advertiser can know that you bought an item by clicking an ad called an ad conversation, but won't possess any identifiable information about you.
Yep.
Now, privacy preserving ad click attribution, Apple says it has found a middle ground that's a win-win for both consumers and advertisers. You've got to remember that the World Wide Web is run on advertisers.
That's right. So this is great.
Yes.
So they still get to see that, yes, you're interested. They just don't get to see who you are, what you're spending on,
That's right.
and then try to, grab you for more and more,
Yeah. Yep. So it's also pushing the technology as a standard to the World Wide Web Consortium so that other browser makers can embrace it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
According to Apple, the feature is built into the browser itself and runs on device, meaning that the browser's vendor does not see any of the ad-related data. Online ads and measurement of their effectiveness do not require Site A, where you clicked an ad, to learn that you purchased something on Site B.
Yep.
John Willander explained in the blog post. The only data needed for measurement is that someone who clicked an ad on Site A made a purchase on Site B. Not who it is or what there is or what their age is or anything like that. So, yeah. So it's interesting to see how many other browser makers for which Google and Microsoft are using Google's web browser now. So,
well, this is what I've been telling a lot of my friends. Like, yes, like the Androids are cheaper. But they're not looking after your privacy the way that Apple wants to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I use Apple. This is because it's a fantastic idea. They're not trying to fill your face full of garbage that you don't need. They're like, right, yes, we're happy to give you this information. Yes, they went here. Yes, they bought. Went there, they bought that. That's it. You don't need to know how old they are, don't need to know the name, don't need to know where they're from.
That's right.
It's just you're getting your information, so you're getting paid and done.
Yes.
That's it. So
it's all good.
Yeah.
So don't forget. So we got anything else, son? I've got no more stories.
No, not as of yet. Hopefully next week I'll have some more information on some cool gaming and a couple other retro cartoons and stuff like that. So
hopefully we might even see some demos next week.
Oh man, I hope so.
So don't forget, next week we should be on Tuesday night with the Worldwide Developers Conference being the keynote being, I think, about 3 a.m. Australian time Tuesday morning. So we'll be up for that, blogging that, and then chucking some show notes together. So, yeah. Now, show notes, there's a link each week on the show upload, the link being aussiemaczone.com.au/Aussie-Mac-Zone-episode-287. 287, do you believe that?
I know.
And straight up, you'll see the last 5 weeks' shows and notes there. Spotify, just search for Aussie Mac Zone. Don't forget, we've also got Aussie Mac Zone in Apple News. Now, thanks to our sponsor being ATH Web Hosting with Aussie Tech Heads Domains and IT Help to you. And most importantly, our supporters, you, our listeners, the most important people there are. And Zarn, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you next week. Remember, Apple a day keeps Androids away. See you guys.